This offense has scored 14 points in 3 consecutive games. What do you account for what's going on right now with the offense?
I think it's a consistency thing. I think there's times when we put together some pretty good drives. When we drove up and down the field and converted on third downs and stayed on the field. We're just too inconsistent as a group to sustain. That's what we have to work on.
You're down 27 points in the red zone. You go for a field goal. Are you?
It was 4th and 8. We didn't think we were going to convert in 4th and 8, so just get some points coming out of there and then see what happens.
Game clearly out of hand there at the end. Did you think about trying a different quarterback, just give a different look there?
We didn't.
Why not?
Because we felt confident in doing it.
You obviously lost by a big margin, but were there any silver linings that stood out to you?
I think you look at the film. I think our guys battled back in the second half. Being down what we were halftime, came out, put together a good drive, 15-play drive, we ended up scoring. I think that there's some positives that you can build upon when you look at things. But again, it comes down to what I said in the first question. It's about consistency. At times we knew and showed that we can win the football games, but we have to do that more consistently, especially when we're playing against an offensive battle. So it's tough to keep up with what they can do on the offensive side of the ball, and we need to do a better job on the offensive side of the ball ourselves. So.
And going up against Jalen Hurts, obviously a Heisman contender guy, how do you think your game plan worked against him tonight?
I think he's a special player. As good as I've ever had the opportunity to coach against. Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, who we played against last year, Andrew Luck were probably 3 quarterbacks I coached against. When you watch him out, he has an answer with his feet, and then he has an answer with his arm. So I think that's what makes Jalen so difficult. Than maybe some other guys, but I think that what we saw tonight was he's a really special player. He did it in the first 2, and he did it in the 3rd game, and I would imagine he'll continue to do it for the rest of the year. So.
Yeah, how personally difficult has this been for you these first 3 games?
Anytime you lose, Bill, is difficult. So I don't look at it. It's not my cross; it's everybody's cross. So when you see a bunch of guys who work really hard and they come out on the losing end of the score, then that's disappointment, and that's what. No one's going to feel sorry for us, so we don't feel sorry for ourselves, and we don't make excuses, and we don't let anybody else make excuses for us. So we have to grow and get better as a team, and we'll continue to do that. There are things that we can build upon that I thought we did well today. There are things we got to clean up. We have a huge sack on a 3rd and turned it into a 4th and 40, but we're offsides. You know what I mean? And as a team that's fighting a team that's as good as Oklahoma, we can't afford to do that. We can't negate big plays that we had. We didn't have many big plays on defense, but when we had them, we shoot ourselves in the foot because we were offsides. We're trying to get back from being offsides to get a chance to get back, but we didn't get back in time. And then what was a good play, turns into they score on that drive. So maybe it's a little different ball game there. We had moved the ball down the field and scored. It was 34-14. We forced them to pump. We got a shot. And what can we do in those situations? But good teams don't do that. We have to strive to understand that players like Jalen are going to make plays against you, but we can't give them plays. And I think we gave them one there, and they obviously capitalized on it a couple plays later. So.
Josh Kelly, I think 50-some yards in both games. Is he still rounding into form? Is he not 100% right now?
I couldn't put a percentage on him, but I think obviously he missed some time, and he's trying to get back to where he can be. And I thought he did some good things today. We need to continue to build upon Josh.
What's your message to UCLA fans after starting 3-12?
Obviously we're a young football team. We knew that going into the season what we were playing with, and that we'll continue to fight and continue to battle. I thought our guys fought and battled in the second half here against a really good team. I think that's a team that you'll see probably at the end of the year in contention. I think they've got a lot of weapons. As good a player as Jalen is, there's other guys around him that are really good too. So I think that's a really good football team we played today. But I think our guys fought. I think they competed in the second half, and that's something that we have to build on as we go into league play.
Chip, the team's mental situation as well as anyone. Is there any concern that after 3 losses, a team human nature gets down? Do you have to boost them up at all?
Yeah, I think we talk about it a lot, but I know those guys in that locker room love each other, and our coaching staff loves those players too, and I think they understand that. And I think it's times like this when you're facing adversity that you have to stick together as a group. You can't certainly fray as a group because then it just gets worse. But I'm confident that group will stick together, and I can tell what we talked about a little bit after the game in the locker room, what they're like. They're just young, and so this is all a new experience for them. But we have to grow from that experience. So we played a difficult schedule, and we knew that going in. We don't make that as an excuse, we just understand that's who we had to play. So now we get an opportunity to learn and grow a little bit after this one, and get ready to go up to Washington State and play a really good team that had a big win on Friday night. So we got a chance to go play Mike and his group, and we know that's going to be a challenge for us. But this team embraces challenges, and we need to just get back to work on Monday. And that's what our message was in the locker room.
You gained some momentum in the third quarter. What adjustments did you make at halftime to be able to get that going?
I think that we really were doing the same things that we did in the first half, and from an offensive standpoint. You know what I mean? And we had that one long drive that we scored in the first half on. We kind of went back to some of those same things, and I think we just did a better job executing in those situations. So, when we give Dorian time, he's got time. I think our receivers caught the ball when it was thrown to him, and that's part of it. And then we mix in Josh and Dimitri running the ball, so that we're not just 100% one way or 100% the other way. So I think when we can get everybody clicking like that, I think we've showed times, and that's what we have to correct. We can't be a streaky offense. We need to be a consistent offense. So, those are things that we'll go back to Monday and continue to build upon the positives and then correct the mistakes that we made.
There's a perception out there that you don't think non-conference games are as important as conference games. Is that an accurate assessment?
That's never been my assessment. I think every game's a Super Bowl, right? So I don't know how any game can get bigger than the Super Bowl, and that's always been my approach. So I don't know where that perception would come from, nor do I care what the perception is. Perception doesn't really count. Reality counts. So if they're going to tee it up and we're going to play, we're going to play. So every game counts, and every game that I've ever coached in is always counted. So.
The open receivers for the opponent continues to be an issue. What did you see there today with?
It depends on, the specific play. I know the one play, the one bomb over the head down the end, we were only rushing 3 and with 8 guys dropped into coverage. I think our safety dropped him, so we'll have to go over and make the proper corrections when we look at the film. But they're all different instances, so there's not one thing where you point your finger and say, hey, it was this, so let's fix that. So. Thank you.